Hello and welcome to the Flower Farm Christmas wreath making workshop. Thank you for ordering your wreath kit with us this year. Welcome back to anyone that's been on our wreath making workshops before. We're really glad to see you again, and welcome to anybody that's new. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you really enjoy it and return year on year. We'll start shortly, so gather yourselves together, get a warm drink, a mince pie, and remember, as we go through the video, stop it as often as you want, rewind, take as much time as you need to get yourselves that perfect wreath. We'll see you shortly. Welcome back. We hope that you've got yourselves your drinks and you're all settled ready. So for the first part of your wreath, you're going to need your wreath ring, your reel wire, the very random coloured bit of ribbon that you'll find in your kit, which you probably thought was in there by mistake. It's not. It's very important. And either your scissors, wire cutters, snips, anything like that. So this year we've used ready mossed rings. This is just to save you making an absolute mess in your house with all of the moss. Soggy bags of moss, lots of bits. So we've gone for the more straightforward option, a bit cleaner for you, and also it takes away what probably is the most boring and the nastiest bit of the job. So the first thing to do is make your hook. You take your reel wire, take a stretch of it out, wrap it around your ring, your wreath ring. Like that. So we go round and round, over and over. Pull on your ring to make sure it's secure. Don't cut your wire. That's until we tell you to cut your wire, don't cut your wire. Any loose ends of wire, push into the back so that it doesn't scratch your door, and you're good to go. Next thing, take your random piece of ribbon and fasten this onto your hook. The reason that we use brightly coloured or completely different coloured ribbons is so that you can easily spot it, and that way you don't lose your hook. Once you've finished making your hook for your wreath and put that to one side, the next thing you're going to need to do is cut up your pieces of foliage. Now everybody's packets are different depending on the style of wreath that you've ordered. The wreath I'm making today for the purposes of this, is actually a custom order for a local business. So if you live locally, maybe you'll see it around. So it is a little bit different to any of the kits that are on offer this year, but this just gives you a really good idea what to do. For this kit, everybody has this. This is your bits of Christmas tree. For this one, we've got this longer needled pine, some eucalyptus, which will usually feature in the natural kits and maybe some others. And this one, which I don't know what it's called, I'll be honest.
It's another kind of spruce.
It's just a different kind of
Maybe
spruce,
it's a type
of conifer. So along with what we cut from the farm and our bulk order of your Christmas tree foliage, if you've got anything in your garden that you like the look of, anything that's evergreen will work in your wreath. So just be creative, and anything you think, well, I really like that, that'll look nice, give it a go, see how it works. I'll show you just how to cut them up. I have got piles to the side of me where I've cut some up. Obviously, when you look at your bundle of foliage, you've got a lot more than that. But I just wanted to show you some samples. I don't know if you can hear, just for effect, for the wintry rain that is on the roof of the workshop at the moment. So you might be able to hear that. And it's absolutely freezing. So I've got my cup of tea for a prop. You'll find with your spruce, your Christmas tree, that it has almost like a natural points where it seems like it makes sense to cut it. So like there, and then this one has gone into like two pieces. So you've got two big pieces really from there. And then this one, if we go here and here, and then I think that's a bit wonky, so I'm just going to cut the ends off that one. Get rid of that. We want different size pieces. So don't think I need all of my pieces to look like this absolutely perfect one here. All shapes and sizes, everything is perfect. You want we're going to need larger ones for the outside of your wreath, smaller ones for the inside, so it all works better together. And then with this one, the longer one, this one's got some natural sort of side branches that are about the right size. And then this, if you're very carefully with this one, sort of pull the needles down so you can get to that, and then you're not going to give yourself like blunt ends on your needles. And then again for this one, it's got some side branches that are about right. Okay, so once you've got all of your foliage cut up, if you've got space to do so, it's ideal to put everything into piles of the separate things. It just helps you to keep everything organised while you work. Okay, so once you've got all your foliages cut to size, we recommend that you pop everything in piles if you've got the space, just to keep it all separate to make it easy. You'll notice that I have here some white limonium, which almost looks a little bit like a heather. This is a really great flower to use in wreaths because it just dries out nicely, so it'll last all the way through the season. I also have some gypsophila. Now, we do wreaths and wreath kits that are entirely gypsophila. It's really popular. Although it looks very dainty, it's actually a really sturdy and strong flower. You probably won't have any of this in your kit. As I said earlier, this is a kit, this is a wreath order for a local business, and it's very specific that we're making, so do let us know if you spot it when you're on your travels. So I'm using this in place of probably what you would have in your kit, maybe some berries or some sparkly sticks, some sparkly foliage, anything like that. So I will start out with the ring. If you position yourself right in front of your ring. If you're standing or sitting, you may find it easier to stand. This is how we work, but it's just personal preference, whatever's the most comfortable for you. If you bring your ring in front of you with your hook at the top, so that's 12 o'clock with your jazzy coloured ribbon, and your reel is still attached here. We recommend that you start with your Christmas tree foliage at the top. This is because it's really bendy and it's really full and gives good coverage. We'll find if anybody's likely to have a problem with the wreath, it's going to be right at the end when you come to finish off, but that we'll worry about that later, and don't worry, we will show you how to do that. But we recommend if you start with your Christmas tree foliage, so if you start with your hook at the top at 12 o'clock in front of you, you want to start so that your first bundle of foliage is covering that and maybe like an inch or so down from there. If we use our longer pieces towards the outside, middle towards the middle, and smaller pieces towards the inside, that gives us a larger, fuller wreath for the outside, and the smaller pieces on the inside mean that we keep that circle, which is really important. So you've actually got a wreath rather than just like a pad of foliage on your door. So if you create your bundle together like this, hold it on with your left hand, take your reel in your right hand, wind it over once, making sure you catch the ends, pull it tight, wind it over again, pull it tight. It's really important to make sure that you pull your wire really tight. During the course of over Christmas, everything will start to dry out and it'll shrink as it dries, and that's where you have a problem with things falling out if you haven't pulled it tight enough. So that's your first bit. Your next bit, you want to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to have a definite pattern with this, then this, then this? Am I going to go really random and wild? How am I going to do this? This is where your creativity comes into play. You use your Christmas tree foliage as your backbone. So this is what gives you your shape. This is what gives you strength and gives you fragrance, and it's really, really important. And everything else mixes in to give you that look that you want. Try not to overthink it. Whatever you do will look fabulous. So again, we go for once, catching all the ends, and then twice, pulling it tight. And then next one, I'm going to go with a bunch of spruce again. Holding it tight. Another important tip we can give you, if I move these to make sure you can see it, is that you don't want your wreath to look like it's flying. So you almost want to make sure, as it's on the table, that something hits it this side and something hits it this side. Otherwise, if it's just on the top, it'll still look nice, but it'll kind of look like it's flying. So catch the ends, pull it tight, and then do that again. You just keep going round and you're building up and building up. So keep going like that. It will keep building on it. I'm going to say to you now, if you keep going all the way around like that until you have maybe a couple of inches left on your green, and then come back to the video and we'll show you how to finish it off. Okay, so now you should have got most of the way around with your bundles, and then we're coming up towards the top. You can see here is where my hook is now with the ribbon, and then this is my first bit that I put on, and this is the last bit that I've put on so far. This is where you need to really concentrate. Maybe get somebody to help you if you've got somebody with you, because you could do with an extra pair of hands. So for the finishing off, I think I'm probably going to need 2 more bundles, but sometimes it works out that you only need 1 where you think you need 2, or maybe you'll think you'll be done in 2, but actually you need to squeeze another one in there just to make it look right. Just see how you go. So to finish it off, this is going to be my hopefully second to last bundle. You need to push back your first piece that you did, so you're exposing your wreath ring and the ends of this last bundle. So laying these bits on like that, and then as you've done all the way around, going over, keeping these pushed back so that your ends are underneath your first bit, over the ends, pull it tight, over the ends again, pull it tight. Okay, so you can see it's very nearly finished now. I'm hoping that my next bit will fill it in properly. Gather your bundle together. Push this in. Again, lift this back, push this right under and in. Fan it out. Hopefully that will cover and do the job. Keeping this first bit hanging pushed back. You don't want to be catching over the tops of your first bundle with your wire. If you do, don't worry, just unwind it again and go back a little bit. The best advice we can give you is just, if it doesn't look right, stop it and go back. The really important thing is to make sure you go the same way all the way around. Pull that tight. That's my last bit. And then let's see how we are. There. Not bad. So, we're now back up. You should find yourself back to nearby where your hook. You can see the hook. Take your reel of wire, wrap it round there a few times. You can lay it on its front. It's quite sturdy. Wrap it round there a few times. And now you're allowed to cut your wire. So get your wire cutters, your scissors, your snips, Cut it with a couple of inches to spare. Not know if you can see that much to spare. And again, just poke that into the back, keeps it safe, make sure you don't scratch your door. And then there is your wreath.
Now we're going to move on to the decoration part of your wreath. You may well have some pine cones, maybe some dried fruit slices, maybe full oranges, maybe apple slices, some cinnamon sticks, and then all sorts of other types of decoration that might be depending on the kit you've chosen. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to wire all of these items. So using your reel of wire again, if you've got pine cones, you need to go towards the bottom of your pine cone and you're weaving your wire through wherever you can get it to go through the individual bits. Twist and then snip off your wire so that you are getting sort of 3 or 4, 5, 6 inches of wire onto your cone. For fruit, we always recommend that you put at least 2 slices together. That way you are supporting each other, because they do go a little bit floppy once they get a bit damp. And towards one edge, you're just sort of doing a stitch and then just very carefully twisting that again, snipping it off. I show you the cinnamon sticks. These are particular little ones. You may well have some that are a little bit larger. So you want a little bundle and then just wrap your wire around the middle a few times. And again, twist your 2 pieces, snip them off. You can, if you don't like the natural wire, you can actually cover that with some raffia or some little bits of ribbon if you wanted to. Now I'm going to show you how to make a bow for your wreath. If you would like a bow, your bow can be hung at either the top or the bottom of your door wreath, depending on whichever you prefer. So I'm going to start by finding the middle. So I've literally folded my ribbon in half and I'm just going to pinch it that way, right in the middle. Next, I've got 2 legs of the ribbon, one either side of that pinched central point. I'm going to take this leg and I'm just going to fold and make a loop to that side. And then with the same leg, I'm going to flick it back over the top to form another leg on the other side. So we've got 2 hoops, 1 piece of ribbon. With the second leg, we then go over again to make a loop at this side and then a loop at the other side. So then every time it's crossed that central point, there's nothing bending back on itself, and we've got 2 loops and a leg ends up at either side of that central point. Got a piece of the wire that I've just cut a little earlier, and I'm going to twist that at the back. So then you end up with your nice finished bow that we can poof up once we've put it onto the wreath. Now we're going to add the decorations to the wreath. We're going to start by attaching the bow. So you need to find your hook so you know that that was the top. That's the top point of your wreath. You could put your bow there, or you can bring it down and put it at the bottom. For this particular wreath, I'm going to place it at the bottom. So I'm going to start by unseparating the 2 legs of wire. And then I'm going to thread one round the bottom of the wreath and the other one through the foliage towards the top, into the middle, should I say, rather than the top. So, and then I'm going to flick it over so we can see the back. Got 2 pieces of wire and I am going to twist those together. By doing it like this, there is no way that that can then blow out. So I'll just snip off that excess and tuck that back in. Flick it back over, and then you can just give your bow a little bit of a preen to make it look lots nicer. And then you can do exactly the same with your decorations. If you want to, you can lay them on first and decide exactly where you want to put them, or you can just go along and attach them as you like. So we just do that by threading them into twisting them round at the back and then placing them where we want. So we can go all the way around with whichever decorations we want. Some stars.